Hello, everyone. Welcome to lesson two. Lesson two, we're going over the different waterways. Lesson two, we're going over the different waterways of the United States. So, first of all, in regards to our water resources, the United States is abundant in water resources. The United States is abundant in water resources. This is not a dry area of the world. It has plenty of water. First of all, first resources on the East Coast. Remember, East Coast has the Atlantic Ocean. East Coast has the Atlantic Ocean. Now, remember, oceans are seawater, so that is very salty. So not really useful for drinking, but useful for transportation. Then those on the East Coast also have many different lakes. Those many different lakes, like the Great Lakes, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Superior, Lake Erie, those lakes are useful for their fresh water. Those lakes are useful for their fresh water. So that is water that we can drink and that can be used for our health and consumption. They also can be used for our transportation. So the United States is abundant in water on the East Coast. Then we move over across the plains. We have the Mississippi River. Again, rivers generally have fresh water. So again, useful for drinking and useful for our consumption. Remember, those bodies of water are connected to oceans, but they're also connected to the great glaciers of the past and of old that kind of trickle down from large mountains and from large cold reservoirs. So those are able to trickle down and get to us, and we could drink them. Out on the West Coast, we have the Pacific Ocean. You also have rivers like the Colorado River. Down in the south here, we got the Red River. You've got the Rio Grande River, which borders the United States and Mexico. So again, those are sources and supplies of abundant fresh water. And then in the West Coast, we have that Pacific Ocean. Again, salty because it's seawater, but a lot of places in the West Coast have what are called those water filtration factories that filter out the salt. So to get the seawater, put it through those factories, filter out the salt, and then they got fresh water. So those salty oceans can be used for our drinking and consumption. Also in the United States, we have a lot of reservoirs. Now, when it comes to America and its water resources, United States is very advanced. We have a lot of advanced technology when it comes to our water. We have reservoirs. Now, those reservoirs are big bodies of water that are underground, and we could tap into that underground water. That underground water could be pumped out and then be used for our consumption. Remember, we learned back in Unit 1 about the hydrosphere. About the hydrosphere, water is practically everywhere. So there's water in the air, there's water in the sky above us, and then there's water underground below us. So you have reservoirs, springs. Most of the water that you get in your bottled water comes from the water way down below. So in our country, that production of water is very good in certain regions of the country. Now, in certain regions of the country that are very dry, let's say out in West Texas, it's very difficult to find good amounts of fresh water because they don't have a lot of access to it. But in other parts of the country, like the plains or nearby the mountains where water is readily available, there we have a large access to a good amount of water. So that is our water.